beneath the floodlights. The chandeliers of the Grand Seoul Hotel ballroom glittered like captured stars, scattering light across polished marble floors and champagne flutes. 100 guests moved in silken waves, tuxedos and gowns swaying to the rhythm of a string quartet. Every corner smelled faintly of orchids and old money. Cha Eun-woo stood near the back, posture too stiff for a guest, too restless for a socialite. His bow tie hung slightly crooked, his eyes constantly scanning the crowd. This wasn't his world. The endless smiles, the calculated laughter, the clink of glasses hiding sharper intentions. It should have been G.A. Young's world. She was a detective, the one who belonged in these rooms under guise of civility, weaving between politicians and CEOs, as if she had always been part of their games. Tonight, she was his partner, professionally and, if he dared admit it, emotionally. "Relax," G.A. Young murmured at his side, her hand brushing lightly against his arm as she leaned in. She wore a silver dress that shimmered like moonlight, her hair swept back to reveal the sharp determination in her eyes. "You're glaring at them like you're planning a heist." Eun-woo exhaled slowly, forcing his jaw to unclench. "Feels like one. Everyone here is pretending." "That's what galas are for," she teased, but her smile didn't quite reach her eyes. Her gaze flicked to the velvet-draped podium at the front of the room, where the mayor was scheduled to present the auction item. The one piece of evidence Eun-woo and G.A. Young had been chasing for weeks. A memory card. A simple black square. Yet inside it lay encrypted files tying half a dozen officials to the shadow network that had nearly destroyed Eun-woo's life. Proof that the man in the mysterious photo, the one who looked exactly like him but shouldn't exist, wasn't just a figment of paranoia. If they secured the card tonight, the case would finally break open. The quartet shifted into a softer melody, and servers glided between tables with fresh glasses. J. Young leaned close again, her whisper warm against his ear. "Smile. We're almost there." Eun-woo tried. For her. And then, without warning, the lights went out. Gasps rippled through the ballroom. Crystal clinked as glasses toppled, and someone let out a nervous laugh. In the sudden void, the music screeched to silence. Eun-woo's instincts surged. He grabbed G.A. Young's hand instantly, grounding himself against the panic rising in his chest. "Stay close," he said. But before she could answer, the crowd shifted, dozens of bodies jostling, heels scraping against marble. In the chaos, her fingers slipped from his. G.A. Young, his voice cut through the noise. No answer. And then, just as suddenly, the chandeliers blazed back to life. The ballroom glittered again, but everything had changed. The podium at the front stood empty. The velvet box that held the memory card lay open, discarded. The evidence was gone, and so was Moon G.A. Young. Eun-woo's pulse roared in his ears. He shoved past startled guests, ignoring their protests, scanning the crowd for a familiar silhouette. Nothing. She was right here, he muttered to himself, panic clawing higher. She was right here. Security rushed to the podium, radios crackling with confusion. Someone announced that it was just a technical glitch, urging guests to remain calm. But Eun-woo barely heard them. He darted toward the nearest exit, half expecting to see her silver dress in the hallway. But the corridor was empty, shadows stretching under the emergency lights. The image of the broken photo from weeks ago slammed into his mind. Him and the man who wasn't supposed to exist. Was this connected? Had the shadow he thought he'd banished returned to claim both G.A. Young and the evidence? A voice broke through a spiral. "Cha Eun-woo." He turned sharply. A woman in a black suit, clearly part of security detail, approached with a wary look. "We need to ask you some questions." Later, Eun-woo snapped. "My partner's missing." "That's exactly why." But he didn't wait. He pushed past her, ignoring the calls behind him. Every second wasted was another step. G.A. Young was farther away. He had lost too much already. He would not lose her. Eun-woo ducked into the staff hallway behind the ballroom. The air here cooler, tinged with detergent. His shoes echoed against the linoleum as he searched each corner, each open door. And then he saw it. Something small glinting under the weak light. Her earring. He crouched, fingers trembling as he picked it up. He remembered fastening them onto her ears before they left the station tonight, his clumsy fingers brushing her skin, her teasing laugh as she swatted him away. She had dropped this here, which meant she hadn't left willingly. A flash of movement caught his eye further down the hall, a shadow slipping behind a service door. "Jay Young," he called, voice raw. No answer. He sprinted. The service door led to a narrow stairwell, climbing endlessly upward. He took the steps two at a time, his chest burning, his mind replaying the last look on her face in the ballroom. The faint smile she had given him before the lights went out. When he burst through the final door, the rooftop stretched before him. The city glittered beneath a blanket of night, neon lights blinking like distant beacons. And at the center, under the pale floodlights of the rooftop lamps, G.A. Young. Her wrists were bound, her silver dress catching the light. Beside her stood a man holding the velvet box, the memory card pinched between two fingers. For a moment, Eun-woo thought he was looking at his reflection again. Same build, same face, the same scar. The double smiled. "You're always so predictable." Eun-woo froze, his heart plummeting. "You..." G.A. Young's muffled voice cut through, eyes blazing as she shook her head desperately. The double tilted his head, studying Eun-woo with unsettling calm. "She believed you could escape me, that you could erase me. But here we are again." Eun-woo took a step forward, fists clenched. "Let her go. Take me instead." The double laughed softly. "Always a hero. That's why you're weak." The rooftop hummed with silence, the city 1,000 feet below. Eun-woo's mind raced. He couldn't lunge, not without risking G.A. Young. He couldn't reason, not with a man who was either a perfect doppelganger or a fragment of his own shadow brought to life. But he could fight with what he wasn't willing to lose. "She means nothing to you," Eun-woo said slowly, carefully. "But she means everything to me. You want me broken? Then killing her does nothing. Keeping her alive, knowing I can't reach her, that's what will destroy me." The double smile faltered, just slightly. Eun-woo pressed on, voice steady despite the fear clawing at his throat. "But you're not me. You'll never be me, because I'd rather die than let her go." For a long, unbearable second, the double's expression shifted, amusement melting into something like envy, and then, without warning, he tossed the memory card into the air. Eun-woo lunged, catching it against his chest. When he looked up, the double was gone, vanished into the shadows of the rooftop, like mist. Only G.A. Young remained, bound and struggling. He rushed to her, tearing the ropes away, his hands shaking. "Are you okay? Did he hurt you?" She gasped for breath, gripping his arm tightly. No, I'm fine." "But Eun-woo..." That was him, wasn't it? The man from the photo. He swallowed hard, staring at the empty rooftop. "Yes." And he's not finished. Chandeliers of the Grand Seoul Hotel ballroom sparkled as though the universe itself had spilled into the room. Each prism caught the light and fractured it into dazzling shards, casting rainbow glimmers across the white marble floor. The orchestra strings hummed softly, almost swallowed by the low buzz of laughter, glasses clinking and the shuffle of expensive shoes across polished stone. Cha Eun-woo stood stiffly near one of the marble pillars, his reflection caught in its golden trim. He tugged slightly at the cuff of his tuxedo jacket. The fabric was tailored to perfection. Yet he felt suffocated, as if the suit was a costume that didn't belong to him. Around him, the city's elite flowed with an ease he could never imitate. Politicians flashing rehearsed smiles, business moguls exchanging coded jokes, heirs and heiresses parading in sequin gowns. "Why do I feel like I just wandered into an alien colony?" he muttered under his breath. Beside him, Moon Jae-young smirked, the corners of her crimson-painted lips lifting. "Because you look like you're about to run for the exit." She sipped champagne delicately, her silver gown shimmering like liquid starlight under the chandelier. The dress curved gracefully along her frame, but her sharp eyes betrayed that beneath the glamour, she was working. Eun-woo's brow furrowed as he scanned the crowd. All this glitter, all this music, and every one of them has something to hide. You can almost smell the lies. G.A. Young tilted her glass, amused. "You think you're the only one uncomfortable here? Look closer. See that assemblyman? His laugh is too wide. too loud. He's terrified someone will bring up his scandal. And that CEO's wife? She hasn't touched her glass all night because she's waiting for the right moment to whisper her husband's secrets into the wrong ear. Her observations were sharp, delivered like a knife disguised as poetry. Eun-woo watched her for a beat, impressed despite himself. You don't miss anything, do you? Not when lives depend on it, she replied simply. Then, softer, not when your life depends on it. Her words lingered, heavy. He swallowed, shifting his gaze toward the front of the ballroom where the velvet-draped podium stood. That box, so unassuming, so fragile, held the encrypted memory card. The missing piece of his case. The proof that the mysterious double haunting him wasn't just paranoia. If they secure it tonight, the nightmare might finally have an ending, but his stomach twisted. Something about the air felt too charged, like the calm before a storm. Jae-young must have noticed a tightness in his jaw. She leaned closer, her perfume, a subtle blend of jasmine and smoke, wrapping around him. Relax. All you have to do is look charming. Leave the digging to me. Charming? He asked, a little dryly. She smirked, smiled once or twice. So the press doesn't think you're plotting a coup. Pretend you belong here. Her hand brushed lightly against his arm as she guided him into the ebb of the crowd. Cameras flashed in the distance, journalists hovering like hawks near the edges of the hall. For a fleeting moment, Eun-woo wondered if she enjoyed watching him squirm. Don't glare, Jae-young whispered teasingly as they passed the senator. You'll scare them into confessing. I'm not glaring, he whispered back. You're glaring. He bit back a retort, but the corner of his mouth twitched, betraying him. The orchestra shifted to a brighter piece. Guests clapped politely, and servers appeared with silver trays of hors d'oeuvres. Eun-woo snagged a glass of water from one, needing the coolness to steady himself. He glanced at Jae-young, her posture elegant, her words polished as she exchanged pleasantries with a minister's wife. Yet beneath the charm, her hand subtly tapped twice against a glass. Their secret signal. Stay alert. It hit him then, how seamlessly she moved in this world of masks. How natural it looked when he knew it wasn't. For all her grace, she was no socialite. She was a detective who wore silk-like armor, her every smile a shield concealing steel. You fit in too well, he murmured when she rejoined him. She arched a brow. That's the job. And when the job ends, her smile faltered, just briefly. It never does. Their eyes locked, something unspoken burning in the space between them. But before either could break it, the MC's voice boomed over the speakers, announcing the highlight of the evening, the velvet-draped podium, the auction item. All at once, the crowd shifted, anticipation thickening like fog. Eun-woo felt his pulse quicken. This was it, the moment everything hinged upon. Jae-young's fingers brushed his again, briefly, grounding him. Almost there, she murmured. He nodded, trying to breathe, for her sake. And then, the blackout was instant chaos. A gas spread like wildfire. Glass shattered, shoes scraped against marble, bodies collided in the pitch dark. Someone screamed, sharp and panicked. The quartet's music died mid-note, leaving only the frantic rustle of silk and the heavy thud of shoving feet. Eun-woo's instincts surged. His hand found Jae-young's in the dark, her grip strong, anchoring him against the wave of fear that threatened to swallow him. Stay with me, he said, his voice low, urgent. But just as quickly as they had locked, their fingers slipped apart in the crush of the crowd.